Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas. And yes, we're going to get political today. Let's see, turn the sound down just a wee bit here. We're going to talk about mixed race engines. What you say? Well, that's when you take an engine from a Ford and put it in a Chevy, or a Chevy in a Ford, or a Mopar in a Fiat, or something like that. Let's think about this for a bit. What is true hot rodding? Well, true hot rodding is changing things up, making things work a little bit different, making things work a little bit better, improving performance, or improving fuel economy, even lowering emissions. Hot rodders have been doing this for decades. Good morning, Richard. How are you doing in Texas today? Mark McGeorge, he's hiding in Thousand Oaks right now. Alan Gunnick. Nigel Taylor, good morning to you from the UK. All right, so what has been going on? Now, even manufacturers have been swapping engines. Now, Frank Cascarelli, small block Chevy in a Datsun pickup. You bet. And, you know, we got a couple of guys out at Irwindale doing the same thing. But even the manufacturers have done this. Jensen Healy, what was it powered by? Lotus. Jensen Interceptor, what was it powered by? Chrysler. What did some other famous cars like the Sunbeam Tiger get powered by? Ford. So even the manufacturers swap engines and improve upon a given car. Now, Hot Rod has been doing it for decades. Now, the Ford Flathead was one of the most popular V8 engines of all time until the Monkey Motion Chevys came out in 1955. That was the sign of the times and the demise of the Flathead in racing. Now, they raced for a long time and still are very competitive today. But Chevys started replacing flatheads in hot rods back in the 1950s. As soon as that first 55 Chevrolet was wrecked in the junkyard, a hot rodder bought that motor and put it in a Ford. That's right. Let's see, someone's got a 32 Ford with a Honda LSR car. Why not? Land speed record makes no difference as to what engine you've got. The goal is to hit a speed. Don Hawthorne says 32 Fords are usually powered by a small block Chevy. Really? And it's true. Now, even when we've talked about this before, how did you get a Ford to go fast? Well, it's been Chevrolet since the 1920s. As a matter of fact, they even won Indianapolis with a Chevy-powered, modified Ford engine. Good morning, Neil. How are you? Danny Santos. Big block in a Pinto. Well, which big block? Big block Mopar, big block Ford, or big block Chevrolet? Either one works. And it's all cool. I don't care what car you've got, what body you've got. The engine of choice is yours. That's right. Put the engine you want. My 48 Plymouth's got a Chevy small block in it. Why? It fit easy. I had it underneath the workbench. It drives good. Parts are plentiful. You can get them. Mixed race cars. Even my wife's 46 Ford. Now, although it is flathead powered, it's powered by a Mercury version. What's the difference? I don't know. We were told it's a Mercury. Now, I haven't looked at the numbers to check it out. But traditionally, a Mercury just had a little bit more oomph. Her car is modified. Aluminum heads, dual carbs, headers, board. It's a sweet piece. And we're going to be driving it this weekend on the Drive Your Ford Day, Saturday. Funny cars use Chrysler-style Hemis, right, Mark McGeorge? That's right. The Chrysler Hemi has been the engine of choice in top fuel and funny car for decades. Now, not the Chrysler version any longer, but it is based on the Chrysler design. Small block Chevys have been powering cars in Bonneville and drag racing for eons. Mopar motors. You put a Hemi in something. What's that like? Anyone going to complain about a Hemi, Chrysler Hemi in a 32 Ford? Maybe a couple of Ford purists, but the rest of the people will look at that thing and go, ooh, cool, it's got a Hemi. Even some of our current drag racers. Now, although they may be sticking to the brand, like Rod McGregor at Irwindale, he's got a late model Hemi in his Dodge Dart. Why not? It works. I just saw a post from one of the youngsters that I've known since, well, he's been a real big youngster. Mr. Lee has been building LS Chevy engines for a long time now. And he's got a 1,000+ horsepower unit. He just dynoed at Bill Moropolis's with over 1,000 horsepower to power his Dragster. Well, Dragster doesn't know what engine it's in. It just knows it wants to go. So, Chevy engines. Now, that's not to say you're not going to find Ford and Chrysler motors in Dragsters. I mean, after all, drag racing is about innovation. Even at Indianapolis, there used to be innovation. Today, there's 2 spec engines. You either run a Honda or a Chevrolet. All right, Denny Sanders says the last race car that his dad raced was a 58 Vet with a 426 Hemi. It ran in B-modified production until NHRA decided, crossbreeding is no good. That was in 1974. And Mark McGeorge posted something on drag axles, too. There was a turbine engine attached to a Volkswagen Beetle. I posted that story. It ran 150+ miles an hour at Bonneville. Richard Candahead, he's got a Dodge body with a poly motor in it. An early street rod Dodge with a polysphere engine. That is the engine that Chrysler came out with that was less expensive than the Hemis, and it replaced the Hemi in a number of cars to keep the price down when they were selling them. Joey Dishwanger, how are you this morning? Richard's Chrysler power all the way. And you know what? I got nothing against that if that's the way you want to have your car. But it's your choice to do it that way. And it should always be your choice. Any engine will fit if you've got the proper gas wrench. And those of you who have built cars know what I'm talking about. Now, a conversation erupted this morning, I'll say erupted, in a Ford page here on Facebook about someone running an LS series motor in a 57 Ford. And the purist, who happens to be a good friend and racing buddy, says, nah, it doesn't work. That's not the way to do it. You know what? It's hot rodding. It's pure and simple hot rodding. Even one of his cars, although it still has a Ford, has a different Ford engine that was ever available. Jay Black, 53 Studebaker with a Hemi 300 miles an hour at Bonneville. It works. Transplanting engines have been around for a long time. Now, let's go back to maybe one of your favorite movies from the series that we've been seeing on, what the heck do they call it? Mental blank. At my age, it happens quite a lot, yes. Let's see, Tokyo Drift. What was that story about? What was the car? The hero car? It was a Nissan or a Toyota-powered Mustang. The travesty of it all. It works. Mark McGeorge is talking about 2-stroke outboard V8 engines, boat motors, in a Volvo. Yep, there's one out there, and he's running pretty strong. It's a 2-stroke. It is a wicked-sounding vehicle, and it is a neat piece, all-tube chassis and such. So, what has it got? What are you going to put in it? Now, if you want to really get technical, who's the manufacturer of the engine that's in your car? Corvette. One of the more popular C4 models had a twin-cam V8. Now, it said Chevrolet all over it. But who manufactured it? Mercury Marine. Guys will tell you every day it's a Chevy motor. Well, yeah, it was designed by Chevy. Mercury Marine built the motor. Lou Geisen, he's late. That's all right, Lou. Good morning to you. Scott Knight watching us right now as well. So, engine swaps have been going on for eons. Manufacturers do it to their own vehicles. And I'll tell you another one. Now, this is a brand new one, too. Mazda used to have a partnership with Ford Motor Company. You remember that? The Courier pickup trucks and so forth. And, well, what are they doing now? Ford has pulled out of the agreement with Mazda. In Australia, guess what Mazda's doing? Their new pickup has got an Isuzu engine. Of course, it's manufactured by Isuzu. The whole truck is manufactured by Isuzu to Mazda specs. But it says Mazda on it. Honda did the same thing with the Passport, the original Passport SUV. Isuzu. Dar Hawthorne says, my son and I are currently putting a Honda S2000 motor in a 2002 BMW. Perfect. That'll be a much more reliable engine and put out a lot more horsepower. Jerry Burwell is saying his current project car is a 1928 Ford Model A, and he's putting a nailhead in it. Now, who else has put nailhead Buicks in hot rods? Yeah, TV Tommy Ivo. What did Norm Grabowski run in his T-Bucket? Cadillac. Engine swaps. It's part of Americana, a hot rod history. Hotrodders can put any motor in any car given the right motivation. It's Hotrodders that produced the Cobra, Carroll Shelby, taking an AC and putting a Ford motor in it. He also did the same thing for Sunbeam with the Tiger. There was a Griffith. It was a TVR. A dealer in the East Coast put small block Fords in this British sports car. They called it the Griffith. Ford Power. Now, it's not to say Ford Power is desirable over others. They're all desirable. It's what you want to put in your car. All motors matter. That's right. And I'll stand by that statement. And I'll discuss that with anyone. Because, heck, I'm a car guy. And car guys are a different breed. You're a car guy. You're part of this. And you know what I'm talking about. When you build a hot rod, you modify a car, open season. What works best on that car? And what works best in your wallet and what you want to do. Hi, Jessica. How you doing out there in beautiful Sweden? Jessica Lundgren just tuning in. Good evening to you. I hope your hubby is watching along with us. Alan Gunnick, Toyota truck with an 86 Subaru motor. No, not a truck. You're right. The FRS and the BRZ, a joint venture between Toyota and Subaru. Now, I'm not sure who designed the body and the mechanicals, but it did get a Subaru motor. And there's a joint venture right there. The current Toyota Supra, it's a BMW. Brett Mandela just tuning in. Mr. Serrano, Rapid Robbie Roth put a Toyota 22R in an MG Midget. That's cool. Those motors are weak to start with. The MG Midget, depending on the year, was either 948, 1175, 1175, no, 1100, 1098, they called it an 1100, or 1275. Anemic motors, although they're fun. They rev really nice. Good morning, Ken Warner. How are you doing this morning as well? And here's another example. 32 Ford. What you got in that thing, Ken? You got a Chevy. Land speed racing motors, or rocket motors from airplanes. Yeah. Unfortunately, that has its consequences too. But we've seen it. And Craig Breedlove set the world speed record with his Spirit of America. We've seen others. Jessie Combs, unfortunately, in her attempt to set another land speed record was a jet-powered car. All right, a little bit different, but Mark Spears, hi, Bob. Oh, hi, Mark. It's got a Deuce Highboy with a 350 Chevy in it and tri-power. You see that all the time. That is hot rodding. That is what the sport and the hobby has all been about. Improvements. Personalization. There was a time in Indianapolis when it was a constructor and a entrepreneur, and you took the time to make things work. There was a stock block rule in Indy, and Buick Turbos had the front row one year. They all qualified 1, 2, and 3. Chevy Power. Mickey Thompson brought a Chevy engine to Indianapolis. Offies have been there. Ford's won. Well, hey, look, the first rear-engine successful Indy car, Lotus chassis, Ford engine. Ford and Lotus have been working together for decades on stuff. Jessica saying, whoa, that moved quick there, through there. Let's back this up a little bit. Jessica, we have had so much to do this week. They must make our date next week. Yes, we can do that. We'll get together on a Zoom video. Jason and Jill from Owatonna, Minnesota. The only engine swap I ever did was put a 350 Chevy in an S10 pickup. The reason he did that was because it worked, and it was cheap, and it needed the vehicle. Perfect swap. Now, they had a 2.8 liter, depending on the year S10 you used, a 2.8 liter V6, or the 4.3. 4.3 was basically a small block Chevy V8 with 2 cylinders lopped off. So perfect bolt-in for that. And they're good motors. So was the 4.3 liter V6. As a matter of fact, GMC used that and turbocharged it. Held up quite well. So motor swaps. Racial changes between your cars. I'm for it. Hope you are too. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got GAAS, the morning edition, and I just want to give a shout out to the people that help bring GAAS to you each and every morning. I know you can see this backwards, but you can see it. These are the people. Valley Head Service, the Ford motor in our 57 Ford. Yes, I've got a Ford and a Ford. Valley Head Service built the Y block for it. Irwindale Speedway, Irwindale Drag Strip. Yes, they've started racing again. Unfortunately, no spectators allowed just yet. Moon Eyes, Tucker Tire, Service Tech, to get all the equipment you need in the garage you're working in. Whether it's commercial or your home shop, Service Tech can help you out. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got GAAS, the morning edition, and don't forget, check out our YouTube pages, Two Tired Guys. Go to Two Tired Guys on YouTube. It's our new YouTube channel. We're posting old and new, 20 new videos in 20 days, and we got some great interviews coming up with Bogey and Faye from All Girls Garage. They're up and running. We've got a lot coming your way, including some special interviews. I can't even tell you who they are, but one of the last names is synonymous with NASCAR champions. Think about that. And the other one, the chemical king of automotive. We'll talk about that too. But those will come out shortly. We got some interviews set up for later today and next week. We're going to get it out to you. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got GAAS, the morning edition. Thanks for watching. You are Gasaholics. Thanks for being here. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. It'll be a Fractious Friday. See you then.